Oh, hey. It's been a while. Before I say anything, thank you so much for 19.7 thousand subs, especially by the end of 2020. My goal was initially 10K. You guys went way above and beyond that. Today is the 6th of January, and I'm so grateful to be starting it with 19.7K. The Onision documentary came out a couple of days ago, and I'm not necessarily going to comment on the documentary itself or the content within it. I personally didn't think it was all that bad. I thought that it was a very cringy context with, I mean, they're covering the early 2000s, 2010 social media. It's very cringy content, and it was easy to watch it and be like, But beyond that, I do think that it was done pretty well for what it was. Except for Chris Hansen. Tipster, in my opinion, did the best at reviewing it and discussing what was going on with it, the fine details. I pretty much agreed with everything that he had to say, so I will link his video down below. What I want to talk about, my little spooky squad, is something that apparently not a lot of you noticed. If you're new here, you're probably wondering what my relation to this is or why it bothers me so deeply. And hello, hi, my name is Ashlee. I was on Chris Hansen's YouTube channel quite a few times for the Dobby Vanity investigation. I was the first one to come forward regarding that, and it just kind of went from there. I was pretty vocal in calling Chris out for his mishandling of things throughout that time and very publicly separating myself from it as well. There just came a point where everything that he said stopped making sense to me, and it was just very clear that he was in it for his own personal gain rather than actually helping any of us, and that couldn't be any more clear when I get into what I noticed in the documentary. But before we get into that, if you are not new to my channel, I am sorry for being very inconsistent with my uploads. I always get, it's like the seasonal depression stacks on top of the normal existing depression during this time of year, and it just makes me not want to do anything other than aimlessly scroll through my phone and not look at myself on camera. And I've been taking this time to play a lot of Animal Crossing and try to fix up my island because I would like to open it up to where you guys can come hang out sometime. So my goal for the end of January is 20,000 subscribers. Since we are so close to it, I'm not gonna push myself or pressure myself for anything more than that, because my brain works in a way where it's like if I don't meet that second goal that I am lucky to have set because I finished the first goal, my brain is like, you're not doing good enough. And that's exactly what happened last month when I hit 10K. So suddenly I was like, okay, well I can hit 15K. And then I did hit 15K and I was like, okay, well now I can hit 20K. But then I was so just like depressed and upset with just the world and stuff in life in general that it didn't happen because I wasn't uploading consistently, and I felt very defeated and bad for that. But then I was like, why do I feel that way? I should be so thankful and so grateful for the amount of people who have chosen to subscribe to me, because it's twice as many people as I expected to. But my brain is just, I'm constantly giving myself a goal and then another goal and then another goal because I want to do the best that I can and the most that I can at all times. And whenever I don't meet those, even if I've already accomplished so much, my brain just goes into like. But anyways, so if you are interested in anything on my channel, or if you are liking this video so far, please go ahead and consider subscribing and liking the video. I didn't really realize how much liking and commenting actually helped with the engagement and pushing stuff like this, because YouTube does kind of hide it in the algorithm because of the sensitive subject matter. So if you would consider doing any of that, that's my last comment on that, and I'm going to continue going forward. And really quick, here's some fan art. I want to put it kind of towards the beginning of the video now because I realize that maybe not a lot of people get to see it whenever it's at the very end. So stick that here for now. If you ever want me to see any fan art that you draw, tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I put them in a little highlights thing on my Instagram page. You know the deal. I honestly cannot believe how little attention this detail is getting, because when I saw it, I just felt this rush of cold go through me. January 18th, 2020. Nearly a year ago exactly, Chris Hansen broke the internet by showing up to Onision's actual house. He showed up to his house with a camera crew prepared to interview him. I mean, obviously the interview didn't happen. We've all heard the 911 call. It's Chris Hansen, you know, that whole meme. And I remember at the time, and this is before I had any involvement with Chris Hansen, before I was ever on his show. This was January, my thing was in March. I remember even at the time kind of feeling like, that feels like a weird move to make, like showing up to his house. Like, obviously, I'm in no way defending Onision. We do not stand Onision on this channel. I'm not defending him whatsoever, but I felt that it was a very strange move to make because this was allegedly making its way to the FBI, right? This was an investigation that was happening. I thought it was a little bit strange that it became so like Showtime, TV, camera crew pressuring an interview and then showing his place of living on YouTube. I thought that was a little bit weird. And I remember we all kind of were like, okay, well, why is there a camera crew with him? But then maybe we considered that he was finally using some of that Kickstarter money that he stole from people, thousands and thousands of dollars. If you didn't know about that, I highly recommend you watch John Swan's YouTube videos covering everything Chris Hansen, because it's a lot of scams and a lot of stolen money and just a lot of just absolute. But anyway, some people I think thought that, you know, okay, well, maybe this is like a high quality thing for his channel because he was given so much money to have good equipment, but no, went back to the same crappy webcam content, you know, the next day, or the next interview rather. But honestly, you know, Chris Hansen's reputation on YouTube was still pretty good at that point in time. So people didn't really discuss it too much, whatever. Nearly a year later, January 4th, 2021, when the Onision documentary episode 1 came out, we see footage from that day, January 18th, 2020, where he showed up to Onision's house. I'm gonna say that again so it sinks in. The camera footage from the camera crew when he showed up to Onision's house a year ago was in the documentary a couple days ago. At the time of filming, going to his house, no survivors had been told about the possibility of a TV show. They hadn't been told that there was a chance that their stories would be brought to television. The interviews against Onision were still being conducted, given most of the big ones had already been out of the way, like Billy, Isla, Jacqueline Glenn, Repsion, all of those had been conducted already, but people were still coming forward being interviewed regarding Onision. And if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, Chris Hansen, before consulting any of the survivors, before ever talking about an investigation, going to television, had a camera crew at Onision's house with footage that was in the Onision documentary released a couple of days ago. You know, a couple months ago, I said, I'm sure that he was filming a pilot for that TV show. And lo and behold, that's exactly what was happening. I'm sure that either party can come out and say, oh no, that was footage we took from another camera crew or for whatever. So why did you have a camera crew, like a full camera crew with a van and everything following you to Onision's house when thus far all of your content had been with a really low quality webcam, a fake brick wall behind you, and StreamYard interviews? No, I'm not even going to entertain that theory at all. So the reason that this strikes me so deeply and makes me so irritated is because earlier last year, I have notes on my phone, by the way, if you're wondering why I keep looking at it. Earlier last year, after I had basically been an assistant for Chris Hansen and I collected all of the emails for new Dobby Vanity survivors to come forward, and I did all of the vetting for him until I stopped because obviously that wasn't right. I had no training and I was killing myself staying up until like 5 a.m. every night, which I do now anyways, but at the time it wasn't something that I did regularly, and I would stay up all night I would rewrite emails for these people so it was a more cohesive story to email to him, just for him to look at it and be like, okay, yeah, they're good, and then have them on the show the next day without any further vetting or any actual evidence being provided. But that's neither here nor there. Chris asked me if I had an address for Dobby, and immediately, even though this was before anything got too crazy or he was completely sworn off, I was kind of in between, like feeling a little bit uneasy about him and kind of wanting to break away from everything. But even with a still neutral reputation online, I felt very uneasy by that. It made me feel like just uncomfortable because we already had an FBI agent monitoring the case with no help from him. That was all Creepshow Art and Tim Mimi's, to their credit, because they're the ones who submitted a tip to the FBI, found us our agent, gave the survivors the phone numbers. Chris Hansen had nothing to do with that. But we had an FBI agent who already had access to Dobby's address. So, and I'm not looking at the text messages as I'm reading this, but if I can find them, I will put them on screen right here. It just made me insanely uneasy because the thought of him just taking a camera crew and showing up to Dobby's house was just like, I felt like that would turn it into such a big spectacle, and that's not what any of us wanted. We wanted it to be something about justice and to find some type of relief and being on his show and participating in it. We didn't want it to be all these bells and whistles and a camera crew showing up to the person who was us at their house, you know, like it just wasn't, that's not what we wanted out of it, especially because we did get the agent involved. So it was like, okay, this is a serious thing. We need to actually take it away from the internet and just handle it more behind the scenes now. So to think that he might still be planning, I'm sure the gears were already turning, but to think that he might still be planning something like that in addition to the Onision show. I was talking to Edwin about it a little bit, and at first I was like, I don't think, you know, Chris Hansen would be dumb enough to do something like that again. And then he was like, why not? And I realized, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's been almost a year since I went on his show. It's been about 10 months now. I went on in March of 2020. From then to now, he had me vetting emails he'd receive without any experience at all. He ignored me for weeks when I desperately tried to reach him because a 16-year-old was actively being talked to and groomed by Davi, and we didn't have the agent at this point. I was going to take it into my own hands and alert the authorities, you know, call the police about it, but he kept telling me that he had people and to just wait. He has people. He's going to connect us to whomever, whatever. And then eventually the girl got blocked on Instagram and no evidence could be produced because it was all through video call. His fiance, who has apologized since for harassing me on multiple streams, all because of the influence of what disagreements had occurred between me and him. I'll leave another video down below that has me, Kylie, and Liz, 2 other survivors, speaking on our experiences with Chris Hansen. It didn't do too well when I uploaded it because of a weird time. If you want to go check it out and hear the extent of all of our stories and how he has mishandled this, then, you know, Chris Hansen has done nothing but further dig the knife into so many fragile beings' trauma. He asks horrible, triggering, and leading questions to get views, and he doesn't even listen to the answers. Just a small example. Recently, this is a couple months ago, there was an interview where Fallon Vendetta, Davi's ex-girlfriend, was on his show, but before her came another survivor who explained that Davi had her and then afterwards introduced her to Fallon in the same night. And then Fallon comes on the show. Chris does his whole, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, whatever type of thing. And then Fallon comes onto the show and he goes, oh, have you ever met Fallon before?
And not only that, but he had the gall to introduce me to Fallon the same night.
Fallon Vendetta is with us tonight. Have you guys actually met in person before?
Yeah.
I can't speak for the Onision survivors, and I would never want to, but as somebody who is in the same realm of this experience and on the same side as them, for this Onision documentary to be patting Chris Hansen on the back as the one who shifted the narrative against Onision, as the one who is spearheading this investigation and has done so much, it's just such a smack in the face. And I feel so bad for them for having that attached to their stories. Of course, we've heard from the executive producer that he didn't mean it that way and that he meant, you know, the Chris Hansen spearheaded everything as a sarcastic comment. I'll put the exact, I'm not looking at the tweets right now, so I can't remember exactly what they said, but I'll put them on the screen now. I don't believe that for a second. However, I do know for a fact that other people involved, such as Edwin, did talk down on Chris Hansen in their interviews, which hopefully we will see in another episode. Sorry, Edwin, if you don't want me to say that. Chris Hansen doesn't spearhead anything. Chris Hansen is a face. He is a face and a mask for something. He is like a mascot, basically. He is not in any way the one doing the research. He has been spoon-fed every bit of information, whether it be from Repsion, Jacqueline Glenn, anybody who's been on his show for Onision. He has been spoon-fed the information by them and then regurgitated it. It's so frustratingly far from the truth, and I just can't not say anything about it. I like I said, I'm not making an Onision in real life documentary review or anything. The fact that he was filming for this documentary last January before he told any of the girls, before any of them knew that there was a chance that this would go to television, and now we're seeing that footage and nobody's acknowledging it. It's just, he can't stop lying, he can't stop shifting the blame, and he sure as hell can't take accountability for anything that he's done. I think that's about all that I can say. There's a little bit of a delay on the merch that I was talking about. The design is pretty much done. I'm just waiting on the artist to finalize it and send it to me, and then afterwards we will have some official Spooky Squad merch. All right, I guess I'm signing off. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.